Thank you for watching and welcome to West Africa, where I'm visiting one of the highest grade gold discoveries of the last decade that's operated by Awalé Resources.
We are an extremely serious company and we run a very serious operation.
Côte d'Ivoire will not be like Mali or like Burkina and so on, because we have also a strong president.
We've covered a lot of Odiana East with termite sampling, and that was a big reason BBM was found.
But this is the core shed, but it's not big enough. So we're gonna have to build another core shed.
Okay.
Now that's all nice and dandy. There's beautiful drone shots, great landscapes, big skies, good food, good music, and insiders telling you their company is the next big thing. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to see how the sausage is made. I want to understand Awale's exploration process from start to finish. From desktop targeting to boots in the ground field work, looking at termites to drill core and the data that comes out of it. Because a lot of site visit videos out there focus on that emotion of scenery and landscape and food and music. You get the flowers and roses, not the reality on the ground. The way an Explorico treats its people, the way they design the program, the way they collect data, store the data, and look after that data is, in my opinion, going to determine a very large part of that final outcome. So for us, stop number one will be the office, where supposedly the magic happens.
So this is it. This is the office. I saw someone here. Andrew, here you are. How's it going? Good to see you as well.
I'm just catching up with our motorbike guys.
Good.
Anyway.
Yeah. Which one's yours? You got a motorbike?
No, I don't have one, but these guys over there. Mine's in Malta, huh?
I've got a mic for you, mate, because
Okay,
I would
cool.
want you to.
Share mine with him.
Oh, you share yours with him. So this is the office. You've got your mic.
Yeah, this is the office.
We can have a look. It's
Welcome.
dinner time. People are still working. Thank you for having us.
It is. They'll be just packing up now. 5:30.
Okay.
Time to go home. And so he's getting ready to go home. And
What are they doing though?
these guys here, they're building core trays. So we get them flat packed. They need to be riveted together and the handles put on and ready to have the core put in them as we're drilling. So
They are.
and we're probably at the moment we're probably producing at least 300 or 400 meters of core a day.
Okay.
So they've got plenty of core trays to build.
They are metal though. Like most of the core trays that I've seen this year, they're all wooden. So
Yeah,
what's up
so
with those?
That would be the African context, because termites will eat the wooden core trays away. So you'll be lucky to get a season out of a wooden core tray.
Okay.
So we do put them in wood sometimes. Sometimes we have a lack of supply, like there's a gap in supply, but they get taken out of the wooden core trays and put in the in the aluminium ones pretty quickly. Otherwise, we would lose the core.
I'm just keeping an eye on those costs. That's why. I imagine these are a little bit more expensive, but they last you a little
They
longer.
are, but the core's secure for a long time, which is a really important.
That's a lot of core though. Is that all the core you've ever drilled, or what's going on?
No, that's I don't know, it's probably a third, maybe, of the core that we've drilled.
Why is it here though? Do you have like a separate core shed?
So we do have a separate core shed. So we brought it in during the election period. So we did decamp during the election. So we just wanted to make sure that everything was secure during the election period, just in case. Nothing happened, the elections were fine, but it's just making sure nothing goes wrong. Core security is pretty important from a QP perspective, and we are going into feasibility as well. So we want to make sure that we keep, dot our I's and cross our T's.
This is the OG office though, right? This is where it all started?
It is. This is 2017 we took this place, or started to rent this place. And so it's been the sort of headquarters
Yeah.
since we started.
Okay.
But you'll see when we get in there, we're very much outgrowing, and we're building a new. We will be building a new office at the core shed, which we'll visit later on.
You're much more giddy here though than you are in Switzerland at conferences. It seems like this is your natural habitat.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I have been coming here for a while. Yeah. So I do know Africa quite well, and I do like it here.
Okay.
I really do.
This is the office?
It is.
This is where the magic happens?
This is.
Let's go
Come
inside.
in. So yeah, like you can see, we've outgrown. Like we've got people sitting outside at the moment, and we really need to get a bigger office and get some people sitting inside. Yeah. So, but that's coming. Yeah. That's coming after New Year. Come.
Yeah. As I said, so this is where the magic happens. Yeah, I can see a lot of map, but is it magic or is it maps? Is it a process? Because again, are you just mostly guessing, or is there more to it?
We're definitely not guessing.
Okay.
So there is a lot of process, and we have an extremely systematic approach to our exploration, and that involves letting the data tell you where you are.
Okay.
And what you need to be doing, and I guess the models you're using for exploration. So that's a key part of what we do is letting the data guide us and where we want to go next. And so we've been doing that since 2017 now. So we have actually built a lot of intellectual property around where we are.
How much has your model changed since you first started? How much have you let the data dictate your model since?
Well, significantly, because initially, like West Africa is really well known for its orogenic gold model, and now we've moved into very much an intrusion-related system, iron oxide copper gold style set or iron oxide copper gold setting, which
I
is
remember your
similar to other
hesitancy actually at the beginning, like when I first met you a couple of years ago, you were hesitant to call it an intrusive or an IOCG. Are you sure
because we
about
were
the model
still
now?
learning. Yeah, so the more work that we've done, the more convinced we are of the system that we're on, and the fact that we are different to a classic orogenic system, and it is an oxidized intrusion related system, and it with affinities. I mean, IOCG is it's a big bucket, like many deposits are put in there, and I think over time that'll get split into different things, but we definitely sit in that spectrum, and we're quite confident about that now, and so a lot of that comes from that crustal setting analysis that we've done.
Here's a question I would never ask my wife, but does size matter? Do you care about how big the potential is and how big this could get here?
Oh, look, I think every geologist wants to find an elephant. Like you wouldn't be out there doing it unless you wanted to find the big one day. And some get the opportunity, and I think we've got the opportunity to be a large mining camp one day. Yeah.
Well, what would that look like? And again, that's probably changed over the years as well, right? Like how big do you think? You're an Aussie, you know how that works. What's your exploration target?
Look, at least 5. We'd love to get at least 5.
Okay. 5 ounces?
But 5 million.
That's it.
Yeah. So we'd love to see this project get out to that sort of scale, and there is a belief that we can get to that sort of scale. And look, Newmont is still in as a partner, and Fortuna as well. So it's not just us that can see the scalability of this project. Other producers can as well, and so I think that's sort of backing the belief that Andrew and I started with, and I hope that the rest of the team actually believe that now too. I think.
I can see it says kitchen over there, and I promised on the video to look into your fridge. What's in your fridge?
Water.
Only?
Water, no beer here. The beer's back at the various houses we live in. So not much happens in the kitchen. We make coffee.
Okay.
We file some things, and the fridge is water.
Yeah. Do you own this building? Is this Awalé shareholders?
No, we rent. We rent the building.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens though after this? I mean, jokes aside, when you figured out where you are, because you always talk about this, like you need to know where you are, what kind of rocks and everything. What happens after that? Do you go to field? Is that what we're going to do tomorrow, or yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. So tomorrow, yeah, we'll go to the core shed, which is where a lot of the work happens right now, and then and we can see, like, you know, our PXRF lab and things like that we've got going there as well, and we'll have we should have time to go for a little tour around the project area, like where we've made the discoveries and those things, and I think then in later days we can move out into the 100% Awalé ground and see a lot more.
Great. Well, I'm excited, but I'm also hungry. Let's go have dinner and then we'll talk tomorrow.
All right, cool. No worries. Thanks, Antonio.
So this is the beginning of day 2, and yeah, we did have dinner actually, so it was pretty good. They have like a catering firm that takes care of all the food and whatnot, so it's pretty good. Long day today though, so it's getting an early start. I think it's about 7 o'clock in the morning because we're going to field. So there's going to be loads of driving and whatnot, and we're hopefully going to look at a rig, a bunch of other stuff, and probably go and look at the termites and see if they like us banging on their homes with a hammer and stuff like that. First thing though is that I'm going to try to understand the process. So I actually want to start from the get-go. So craton scale, geology and whatnot. We're back at the office. I hope everyone's well caffeinated, so I'm gonna go in and see who I can talk to. They're awake. You guys awake?
Hey,
We've got some time for us?
certainly do, mate.
How do you feel about talking about cratons early on in the morning?
Happy to talk about.
Must be your favorite activity as a geologist, right?
Yeah, it's very cool. To know where you are. You always got to know where you are.
So yeah, I do want to ask you where you are, but hang on before you say anything. I'll actually mic you up and then we can start talking about it all. Where do we start?
I think the easiest way to start might actually be over here. The guys have got some maps out for us, and we can have a look at the maps around the walls as well afterwards.
But so yesterday you said it's not where the magic happens because it's not guessing its process.
Yes.
So what do you do with that? I mean, it's colorful maps; they're beautiful. What do you look at here?
So what we're looking at here is broad scale. So up in the top left-hand corner there, that is it doesn't look very big, but it actually covers hundreds of square kilometres or thousands of square kilometres, and it's the West African craton. So we're going from Ghana, Togo over here, all the way over to Senegal on the western side, and then north right up into Mali and Niger. So on a craton, and the craton actually goes further up into Mauritania and Western Sahara.
Right.
But what we're looking at here, and so, you know, so when you're in West Africa, this is the classic map where a lot of people will start, and it's broadly structurally very well known. Mm-hmm. We know where there will be new greenstone belts found, but we know where the major greenstone belts are and where the broad structural framework. So where we are here in Odiene, we did know that we were on the margin of older rocks in the Archean and the Proterozoic rocks, which are the Birimian. Mm-hmm. And the Proterozoic rocks host pretty much almost all the gold mineralization in West Africa. There is also gold in the in the Archean, but and it's all greenstone belt, shear zone hosted, in old terms, orogenic gold systems. Yeah. We knew that we were on the edge of a craton margin, and sometimes you find things that are different there, but really the initial geology that we'd seen was what we would call supercrustal rocks, and we thought that they were all part of that, more about that sort of orogenic kind of story, and so that's kind of how we started. But when I first walked the grounds, that place there, Vakaba, very large artisanal mining centre. There's a local guy who isn't there anymore, but he'd been mining there for about 25 years when we arrived. And a lot of artisanal activity, both hard rock, so they were actually drilling and blasting and mining underground, as well as alluvial mining in that area. And so particularly in the hard rock mining, I saw a lot of vein gold coming out of the ground that particular day. So we knew that there was sort of gold in the system, and probably some high-grade gold, because there were many little nuggets in the quartz veins that I was looking at from there. So that's where we started.
Not as simple as looking at this and being like, oh, it's green over here, or just drill here.
Absolutely not.
What do you do then after this? So you roll this up.
So this map here is actually we kind of leave it there because it is early stage. And so we come in, and this here on the left here is and that's what that is there as well. That's from the regional government mag. So the government did very coarse magnetic survey. I think the line spacing was about 1 kilometre. And Andrew particularly, and me a little bit, we squeezed the life out of that mag to get our structural interpretation and start to understand what we call the kinematics, which is how things are moving, or what direction things are moving along structures, up, down, left, right, from that perspective. And that map there is an early stage kinematic or structural map that we put together from the regional mag. Then we found some old data. So Randgold in the mid-90s had done some work, and we had this broad-spaced, 500 metre to 1 kilometre spaced initially geochemistry that they had done. We subsequently found some follow-up geochemistry as well. But these were just old maps, and we registered the old maps to where they should be, like geo-registered, geo-rectified, and then we started doing our own soil geochemistry and surface mapping. Right. And really, from that early stage, and so we did some soil sampling up the top there at what is now called Lancer. We did some soil sampling at Vakaba. Initially, Scepter wasn't done, and we did Empire. And they were all interesting. And then so we came back and we started, so our first drill holes were at Empire, and we did a couple of drill holes at Vakaba, and that was the first drill programs that we did.
Right, okay.
And then, so we're still running on an orogenic model at that stage really. And then after we drilled Empire, we had done some more work, geochemistry on Charger, and we thought that Charger might be very similar to Empire, on the same structural corridor, and the geology looked quite similar to Empire that we'd mapped, but when we drilled it, we drilled these hematite breccias.
Quite close to each other though. How come, and why is it so different?
And I think that comes back to probably what we understand now. We see the system as quite hybrid. So the intrusions that have come into the system are late in the orogeny, so they're right at the end of the orogeny, and we get a lot of these small, small diameter intrusions coming up into the system, and Charger is being absolutely hosted and driven in one of those smaller intrusions, whereas Empire might be distal to that or something, but it's more, it does appear to be more of a sheared vein kind of system. But so we thought we were going to see the same thing. We didn't. we drilled these hematite breccias that you can see here. So that's another picture of the one from Charger, and this one here is actually from Lulu Guntoko, actually in Mali. And so and that's what started to send us down the rabbit hole of where are we, and then so we took that step back and we went, right, in a much bigger picture, let's look at things on a thousands of kilometre scale, and then look for similar tectonic or cratonic or crustal setting globally. And so then the obvious place to look first is sort of South America, West Africa, because we know that the greenstone belts in the north of South America are the same age and are a continuation of the greenstone belts in West Africa. And then to the south of that, you've got these Archean cratons. And then we're like, well, then there's the Carias on that craton margin on the other side, an obvious first place to go. But then when you look at these things globally, the Gawler Craton in South Australia is similar. In Eastern Australia, the Mount Isa Eastern Succession, and then there is also Canada and South America have some similar settings as well, but they're younger. The Canadian one's not that much younger, but is it on here? It's not on this one. But the Andean ISCG settings are much younger than we're talking 200 million years younger than say Carias and.
Whereas like what you have is like 2 billion.
2 billion.
Yeah. Okay.
So so we're talking a couple of billion years in geologic history between sort of the Andean styles and the where we are.
A lot of this is quite theoretical and abstract, though, and it's easier looking back at it. Hindsight's 2020. Maybe does it make sense to do an example of what you're doing right now on your 100% owned stuff and kind of see how you've taken that up, from the ground up and how you do that process?
Yeah, I guess so. That drives how you look at your geochemistry. But a key thing about this is stepping in and out and stepping up and down in scales, which is something we sort of haven't really talked about. So we've built all these models and ideas, and what we've continued to do is let the data drive those models and ideas. And something it's become a reoccurring theme that we are on an intrusion-related system, and it does fit somewhere on that. I mean, this broad, the IOCG is very broad, and I think that's why people thought that Andrew and I were crazy when we started talking about it, is because these guys don't know what they're doing. They're just throwing out a bucket into the biggest bucket that exists in sort of in geologic settings. Yeah. But we have actually let the data drive it, and we've actually started to prove it, and I think people actually believe us now. But yeah, as you said, what we could do is what we've done since. I'll just tell you what we've done since all this is. We've recently got permits granted, and we've had Lorna driving our regional geology team, and she is probably the best person to talk to you about what we're doing. But we've flown this regional mag, and we've started to do our interpretations of that regional mag, and in the same manner as this, but in a lot more detail, because we've got this 100-meter space mag compared to 1 kilometer space.
Are you going to be better at this, or quicker, more efficient than you were at the beginning at Charger and BBM because you have Charger and BBM?
I think. Well, there's that, and on top of that is the fact that in the older Awalé, we were living very much hand to mouth. So it was very start-stop exploration. I'm not one to blame things on COVID as well, but COVID did get caught up in the middle of all of that as well, which certainly didn't help. you know, Côte d'Ivoire did kind of shut down for a while, and so, but yeah, but that hand-to-mouth sort of very low funding is not conducive to broad-scale ideas and actually being able to step out and be systematic and do your exploration in that manner. Yeah. And so now we do have that wherewithal, and we are well funded. We've got 15 million in treasury, so we can just drive that exploration through without having any hiatus in between.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key to being able to make new discoveries in a more expedient fashion.
Yeah.
So without, I reckon we should just drag Lorna to have a chat to you guys and sort of have a talk about what we're doing on our 100% permits.
Lorna, you run exploration on the 100% stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the one who would potentially make me more money. So I got to listen carefully now.
Yeah.
No pressure though,
so.
but what are you after? What are you looking at here?
Yeah, so this is now what Andrew was saying. This is a more detailed air mag that we got this summer. Mm-hmm. So now we're looking at all the AWALE permits. So these are the Odiana East and Odiana West permits. Mm-hmm. And then these are our AWALE 100% permits.
Right.
So this
Cienzo's
is
right
Cienzo,
here.
Yeah. And then Sedu and Sama.
Okay.
So these are our northern permits up here.
I haven't done much work in the northern permit, so we're going to focus on Cienzo, right?
Yeah, but we're actually working in Sedu and Sama. Well, Sedu mainly now. So we're trying to bring Sedu and Sama up to the same stage that Cienzo is at, as fast as we can, basically. So yeah, we're a little further down the line with Cienzo. We've already done our base level geochem surface sampling, and we've got some drill holes in there.
So I don't know if you heard what I was asking Andrew about, but I'm really trying to understand how it all started. So he walked me through, the craton and everything. But where do you go from there? Where do you even start? Like, you see this geophysics map, and what do you do? It's all nice colors, but where do you go from here?
Yeah, so I think we, like Andrew was saying, we started with that really low resolution 1 kilometer scale air mag, and then now we've got this detailed one. So we have a reasonable idea of big structures, and then from this is just one of many layers, many geophysical layers that we all get, and I guess we start off. Or I started on paper with this one, but this is like a
This is structure?
No, so this is like a observation layer, so it's more, I guess in the old school you would say form lines or general mag signature.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're grouping together things with similar mag signature and where there's changes and breaks, and then from here picking out structures and getting a bit more of a structural framework. So we started like this on paper. That's something that we often do, starting on paper, and then we've brought it in and had it on the computer and had more layers and building.
So it's always starting on paper. Is that typical for exploration, or is that just what you do?
I think here it's a very good thing. It's like a kind of base technical skill,
okay.
Drawing sections and flitches and maps, and it's something that we build the team here to everyone to have this like base level technical ability before we bring it into computer work and bring it into. It is 3D, but if you bring it into leapfrog, micromine, etc.
At what point do you go and bang on termites with a hammer, though?
Yeah, so after we think that we've got some structural targets, and we're using some of the things that we already know from Odiana East and applying that. For example, some of the geophysical signatures that we see at Charger, we are applying these concepts to our other permits. Mm-hmm. And then, we're at the moment doing some wide-spaced, broad termite area sampling.
Okay, so this is the point where we go and look at some of the termites, or how you're sampling that then?
Yeah, but we can look at where that is.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be going out to the Sedu permit. So if you look at this map, Sedu permit is here. It's to the northwest of the Odiana East permit.
Yep.
So now if you zoom in, this is like a geology layer that we've produced by using the mag. And then we've planned this wide space termite area program over where we think are our better structural targets, and we have the right fertile intrusions.
Yeah. And so you map the termites beforehand, or the termite mounts, or do you just go out and they're kind of like there, or?
Yeah, we have. It depends what area you're in and what the regolith is, but we have some quite good coverage. So this at the moment is like 800 by 50 meter grid. So we plan the grid and then we walk the lines, and you have kind of I think 20% either side of where you can pick the termite.
Okay.
So you end up getting quite a good coverage.
So there's quite a lot of them then?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting more and more excited.
Yeah.
Is there more maps?
Yeah, so I think part of what we're doing when we're walking the ground, this is very much a field map, but part of what we're doing is it's also outcrop sampling, or even just finding outcrops, because we don't have perfect outcrop cover here.
So there is cover, or like how thick is it? What is it?
No, so it's the weathered material, so it's how thick that the weathering is and the oxide is.
So there's nothing transported, or?
So there is always, or not always, but often there is a thin transported layer on the top that can vary. But most of the regolith is the weathering profile down to the fresh rock.
How much is that, the weathering? How thick would that be before you're into base rock, fresh rock?
It depends. So in some areas, in topographic highs where there are outcrops, you're directly at the fresh rock, but it can be up to 60 meters and probably deeper in some places over the whole permit.
Great. Okay. Is there anything else to look at over there? I think we looked at that map.
Yeah, I think this is just a field map of where we're finding outcrops, and it's the starts of a regolith map, because we have 4 teams out there walking these lines. And
4 teams?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's termite time?
Yes, termite time.
I'm absolutely ready for it. Let's go.
Preparing to go out and take some termite samples.
Okay.
So these are some guys from the village that are helping us out.
Okay.
So we're going to go into the bush and walk the line that we've planned.
But it's just like untouched bush, like you just see a termite mound and you just go straight, or?
Yeah, we try and keep a similar spacing as how we've planned.
Okay.
To make sure we cover.
That's what you showed me on the map?
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Yeah. So we're just getting the equipment ready.
When you say equipment, what do you need? I thought it was just a hammer and that's it.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of bags to carry a lot of heavy kilogram samples.
Okay.
That's why we need these strong guys. So sometimes your line is not as close to the nice bush road as this.
Right. So
we have to walk a few kilometers, and every sample that's 3 kilos. So.
Okay, it's rough.
Yeah.
Machetes to cut the way, I suppose. Just cut down the bush.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. We follow Jenny. It's her team.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
This is one then?
Yeah, so this
one's integrated into a tree. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we try and choose them when they're not collapsed. because we want them to be like an active termite mound.
Okay.
So it means that they're burrowing, the termites. So if this was on our peg, we go and walk and try and find one that's not as collapsed.
Right.
And see if we can find one.
But this is not good. We can try to find a good example.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no worries.
So when you go looking for termites, Lorna, would you also just stop and look at like outcrop like this at the same time? Is that part of the process, or are you kind of focused like, no, gotta have the ants?
No, so this is what we're stood on right now. This is not, it's not like bedrock outcrop.
Okay.
This is like what we were talking about, of part of this weathered profile and part of the regolith profile.
Okay.
But when we are getting to, this is like a,
You would still map this though.
yeah, you're still mapping it as part of your regolith. So you see how we're on like the cap of the hill here?
Yeah.
This is like this in situ or not transported laterite cap.
Yeah. It's reddish though, so does that mean it's full of hematite or iron?
It's it's iron.
Okay.
It's oxidized.
I think they might have found a mound over there.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
But sometimes you're finding, you find bedrock on these breakaways from these. So around the edges of them.
So we seem to have found one. This is like a fresh, active one then?
Yeah, exactly. This is a cathedral
Okay.
mound.
So what happens here? Maybe you can walk me through that whole thing. Why are you even, taking a chip out of this?
Yeah, so the termites themselves, they're always trying to go down to the water table.
How deep is that?
Yeah, it's about 60 meters, 40 meters.
Yeah, it varies.
Yeah, it varies. Yeah. And as they're going down, they bring the material up from as they burrow.
So it's like a little drill hole.
Yeah, exactly. It's somewhat like that. It has some dispersion to it, of course, because they will burrow out a bit. Mm-hmm. So it's not directly underneath like a drill hole, but it's less dispersion than surface soil.
Okay. So how trustworthy is it? Like how representative is it of everything that's below us?
Yeah, I guess we've covered a lot of Odiana East with termite sampling, and that was a big reason BBM was found. That was what went over, that was the first pass surface geochemistry over BBM. So yeah, we've compared termites to soil in quite a few places, and often we'll see, for example, when the soils are getting washed out in riverbeds, the termites will have consistent anomaly across that riverbed, and the soil will drop out in the anomaly and then come back up as you cross.
Yeah. And do you need any special permits or anything else? Because you're essentially banging on their house with a hammer, right?
Yeah, okay, but it's incredible how fast they make these houses. Okay. So no, we're in our ground, so.
Okay. Right, let's go up closer and then we can see exactly what.
Yeah.
And see exactly what you guys do. So you just take a chip, or you have to look at it up close, or?
Well, we can watch how they do it.
Okay.
We will quarter it, and we take 4 quarters of the mound around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go have a look.
So it depends a little of how wet the mound is, how soft it is. So we start with measuring the height and the width of the mound, and then record things like.
So this is like what, 3.5, 4 meters?
Well,
I think a little less. He'll tell you.
So the
210.
yeah. Also we take the coordinates.
Yeah.
And after we can start now to take the sample.
Yeah.
Ok, commencez.
So the guys are going to take 4 samples, or four places from the termite, and then we start by knocking the outside off. So the one that's been out in the air, and then we take the sample from the inside of the mound.
It's got to be from the inside.
Yeah, so he's now. Yeah. So he's now cleaning his equipment, so to stop contamination from the last mound that he sampled. So he's cleaning the equipment with the new mound.
Yeah, so and it's an in situ sample. So effectively they burrow down, and that's really about water. And then they forage this sort of dried out humic material, and so they just don't like the sun. So they actually build a foraging network around the mound, and that might go sort of, I don't know, anywhere between 30, 50 up, even up to 100 meters around as well. But really what you're getting is something within, you're getting samples that are very close to being right here, like within tens of meters. And purely by taking a multiple cores, you can see that they build, so they not only build up, they will build out, so they build out into these lobes as well. So so you want to try and get a cross section, because different parts of the mound will come from maybe different parts of the subsurface.
Right.
And it's been incredibly effective.
What do you actually do with these bags? So the guys collected them, they're loading them up right now. What are they going to do with it?
Yeah, so we're going to take it back, check that all our numbers are there, and then we will sieve it, and then we run it through the XRF.
Can I come?
Of course.
Let's go. So after the samples get loaded, what happens next? I suppose we're here where you're going to drop them off, or like what happens after that?
Yeah, so they get brought here to the core shack.
Okay.
And then we'll dry them. So this is our drying area. It's at RDO today, so the teams are not working.
Okay.
Have a rest day today. But we dry them here, and then sometimes they're dry from the field, and then we sieve them to 1 millimeter fraction.
They did look pretty dry, like the ones that we picked up yesterday. Do you still have to dry them after that?
No, those ones were pretty dry. It depends a bit where you take them from. But as you saw yesterday, they're in like big chunk pieces.
Yeah.
So they get brought here and then also beaten
Crushed
to
up.
crush up before they get sieved to 1 millimeter fraction.
Yeah.
And then we run them through the PPB machine. This is our lab here, the PPB lab.
How long is that process when you bring them? So after you've taken them, how long is the process before they actually get into the lab?
Not long. That's the guys are sieving normally about 70 a day, so can go quite fast. We can have them dried and through the lab the next day. 1 day drying and then into the lab.
And what happens after that? So when you say into the lab, what exactly happens in there?
Yeah, so we can go and have a look.
Okay. These are they look like barrows really on the outside.
Yeah, they're actually like, in some ways they're quite simple. So these are the rollers. So we'll have the sieved sample, and here we do 2 things. So we directly put some of the sieved sample straight in for multi-element analysis, just on XRF.
Yeah.
And then 400 grams of the sample we put in these things.
Okay.
And then we put a leaching liquid in, and we put these.
Is that what I'm smelling, the leaching liquid? Because it kind of smells like, it smells like urine, really.
It's actually these things. It's the collectors. So you put the sample in and the leaching liquid, and these little collectors.
Yeah.
And then we roll these for 20 hours. And then that basically leaches down the sample. And then these little collectors are then what we will take into the lab and shoot with the XRF. And these are the things that smell.
Yeah.
Fish, I would say.
It is kind of fishy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you get them into the lab. How long does that process take? So far you said just, so that's 20 hours.
Yeah.
They're going to crash 70 a day.
Yeah.
So for 70 samples, we're 2 days before, so the samples arrive here 2 days before they go into the lab, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the lab it's just shooting with the XRF gun. So these ones get dried, so they'll get dried first, but that can be 3 hours, something like that.
Right.
And then it's like the normal process every geo knows, basically.
Just a 2-day turnaround, really, though. So from field to actually knowing what you looked at, or what we looked at in the field, you know you know the contents of
so we use both, right? So this one is a different process. This is detector. The settings and things are different, and this one is for gold only, and then obviously multi-element we use a copper, arsenic, everything else.
So you only detect gold with this. There's not.
So with these leaching and the barrels and these collectors, that's just for gold. That's just the process for gold. But the multi-element process is just a normal XRF process, just directly with the sample itself.
Yeah.
So
pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's next then after that? Would you go and start mapping everything that you have, geophysics, geochem, and everything together, and choosing drill collars, or
Yeah, I guess we'll build that up, so we keep the samples rolling, so as we're sampling, and then we build that geochemical map from the surface sampling. So we use both multi-element for rock types, and then of course gold anomalies, copper anomalies. So that's just one more layer. Like, we've already looked through geophysics, structures, any outcrops we have, and then this is another layer that we bring in to make that bigger picture. And then we get anomalies, geochemical anomalies, if they're on the right structures. If we think it's favorable where they are, then it's the next step.
Have you worked on projects where they don't do that and they essentially skip this step and then just go straight to picking drill holes?
Yeah, I guess that happens. Like, that's a common thing that is happening.
So this for you just adds like an extra layer of well, it's never certain because it's exploration, but an extra layer of certainty.
Yeah, it's just like it's a geochemical sampling program, a big, broad scale. So it's similar to soil sampling cover.
So what's next? What's the next step? What are we going to look at next? We're going to go look at some maps and how you actually pick the location, or what would you do next?
We can go and look at when we get all this data, and then how we bring it in, and how we find our anomalies, and what we do from that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're going to go and look at some maps, or... But is it like always on the computer that you do this next step, or is it just like we did it before when we looked at the maps? Or?
No, actually we do it on paper first. But then I've just digitized it, and like we saw yesterday with the geophysics maps, sometimes it's easier to go into the computer because you can turn on and off layers. So no, a lot of it is on paper first, and then we'll digitize.
I don't mind sitting down, I'll tell you that much after all that walk. So let's have a look. What is this software that you're using?
So this is just QGIS. So this is just like map 2D software. And then this is our geophysical interpretation. And then I can turn on where all our termitaria points are.
So that's already logged, or do you? Because there was a barcode on that bag that you showed me at the PPB lab. Would you get the data from because of that? Because it was scanned and then you have it, or?
Yeah. So this is all the data. So this is everything that's also been to the lab as well. So yeah, this is of like when the guys are in the field, coordinate, and then the results are back, and then we make percentiles and play about with it and turn on and off elements to see different anomalies. So they're plotting where they have been taken. So you can see that the lines are not perfectly straight because they don't grow perfectly straight, or they don't make their mounds perfectly straight.
Yeah. They should. You should train them. What is it that you're looking for here, though? Some kind of patterns, or?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just the next layer on top of our structures, and patterns, i.e. anywhere where there is anomalous gold or anomalous copper, anomalous arsenic, anomalous bismuth, and then we're basically contouring out where those geochemical anomalies are. And we also use the multi-element. So for example, this boundary here, this is a big granite border, and then you can use the immobile elements from the multi-element data from the termite area to map the border of this granite. Because, for example, in Cienzo, we don't have much outcrop at all. So we're using the termite area also as a geological layer, as well as just metal anomalies.
And then how do you know you want to drill that exact specific spot? What is it that you're looking for? What's kind of the right combination for discovery?
Yeah, so you need both you don't need it, but you want to be close or somewhere in the vicinity of these deeper tapping big structures. Somewhere around some fertile intrusions is good.
Do you have a comparison this and something that already is a discovery, like a BBM or something else that we can compare to?
Yeah, exactly. So up here, a long strike from this structure. This is the BBM surface anomaly. So if I flick the drill holes on, you can see there's BBM deposit. So for example, BBM, the termite area over BBM, you can look at this one. We had some that were within the termite area that was, I think, 1.3 ppm in the termite area. Yeah. Normally we're working on a ppb scale.
Right. ppm is just like grams per ton. So it's the same, yeah,
exactly. So yeah, you can see the scale of that anomaly. So there was 8 samples that were above 100 ppb, so that's pretty high. Yeah. And then, for example, down here, now we're looking at Fremen. In Fremen South here, we did some infill termite area, and we also have five of them above 100 ppb. So that's kind of, it does not have the same strike length, but the core of the anomaly, you really get that core that has some similarity to BBM there.
You did already publish some assays from Fremen. They didn't come up as expected or as close to BBM as you might have expected. How come? What was done differently or drilled differently? Yeah,
so we actually started drilling the RC there before we'd done the infill termite area. So when you look at this map, you can see that the RC lines are clipping the edge of this core of the anomaly. So yeah, it's a bit of a learning that the process that we've always worked at was to build that solid geochemical data set first before going in and testing with the rig, but we jumped a bit early on it. So now we're going in and we're doing a bit of a combo of a diamond hole to test geometry with an AC program, with an air core program, and that air core program, then we will run that through the PPB as we're doing it. To really find the best part of this anomaly that hopefully we can follow up then with diamond holes. Yeah. So here's some of my 75 IQ thinking. Why don't you just sink a hole into the middle of that purple spot there? Yeah, because there's this strike length. You can see this scale. This is like 1.2 kilometer strike length. So we've seen that in many places that it's easy to miss. something. Maybe you're going to have a core of 200, 300 meter strike, something like that. And where would you choose on that anomaly? Because the tenor of the whole strike length looks quite similar, but
yeah, I would just the big purple spot right here, just in the middle.
But then there's another big purple spot there as well. So we're finding the best spot there with the air core.
Yeah, you're actually drilling right now at Fremen?
Yeah, we just started today. The rig's just moving there today to drill our first kind of scout diamond hole to test our geometries, because we want to make sure we're drilling the right direction.
Right. How far along the whole process are we since I first got here essentially and heard about Cratons to, okay, we're mobilizing the drill rig? How long is that process?
On a time scale?
Yeah.
When I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Call a friend?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's as quick as an idea and improving the idea. So something like BBM was using, we didn't actually have the high-res mag. We didn't have that. We had the government mag, which is like 1,000 meter resolution. And we picked up what we call a major regional structure. We saw one slide, it had a different geology on one slide to the other. It had no geochemistry done on it previously. So it's just this what we call, like, I don't know, Canadians call it moose pasture.
Yeah.
So we've got, that's an idea, so that's a concept. So there's no geochemistry, so we go in, we covered it with termitarian soil. We used the PXRF, that showed us that there was a copper and moly anomaly. The thing is, it's huge. So we don't want to just take all that sample and send it away to our lab. That's really expensive. So we used the PXRF to see if there's any pathfinders that showed those copper and moly. It also showed a really strong zirconium and arsenic anomaly next to each other. So the arsenic anomaly was delineating the footwall, and then the zirconium was the intrusive on that hanging wall. And it was almost like a perfect line in the geochemistry that lined up with our regional interpretation. So now you're getting two layers that are kind of speaking to each other. And then when we found that, so then we selected that zone and sent it away for gold assay. So when it came back, it picked up a big core, like 200 ppb, but there was also some really high point anomalies, like half a gram gold. I think it was 1.2, I think, 1.2. And then you're like, great, but when you're walking in the ground, you're also mapping the geology. So there was actually outcrop there and subcrop. So you can actually see really high strain rocks. You can see there was a footwall, you can see there was a hanging wall. So there's a concept here, and then we prove it by walking the ground. And the geochemistry is proving it, the geology is proving it. And that's actually why we ended up going straight to diamond, and we just drilled right underneath and we made the discovery, because we already had a concept, we had a geological model already. That's because we had geology on surface.
Yeah.
So BBM is a bit of a dream in that way. Happens to be that first model was correct, and it's still the same. So the model hasn't changed since day one, since we were mapping in our heads in this office over the light table. Something like, so it's the same process for something like Fremen. So we have that knowledge, that geology knowledge, and we then want to apply it to somewhere else. It's the same corridor in terms of the regional view. And then what we've got is we do the interpretation, we put the geochemistry over it, and then the geochemistry pops. Yeah. So you start to see things lighting up. And at that point, at something like Fremen, just the southern part of the target, you can see this to the east, like a granitoid body, and the thing just changes in strike, and that's where the anomaly is. So that's what BBM is. You just got a change in strike and the anomaly is there. So you've got very, very similar model, I guess, within a shear zone. So then when we go in and we were trying to see if we can get the same luck as we had before with BBM.
I thought it was process, not luck.
It is process, but it has to be there.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you skip a step, you are relying on luck.
Yeah.
So 400 by 50 is quite wide spaced, and we just, because of our geology knowledge in the project, we felt that we could have a look at another RC. You can actually maybe look at the geology.
We had layers of other information
Yes.
that gave us confidence.
Right.
Otherwise, you wouldn't necessarily.
So how long did that take? Because you said, it could be as quick as an idea, but you still want to get the termite area, take you 2 days, and then actually analyze it, the man hours and everything, the woman hours as well. And how long did that take you?
It depends. So if you have a few teams, you could cover that. If you had 4 teams, you'd be able to cover that in a week, and then you then send it to the lab. Now the turnaround at the lab is quicker because there's an internal lab there's a lab in Yamoussoukro that we can use. Yeah, and we've got the PPB machine as well. So with that one, we had the PPB machine that flashed up that there was plus 50. But we hadn't quite, we talked about it earlier, we're still trying to orientate the PPB machine. So we then used that to then send it to the lab, and it showed that we had that anomaly. So, and then the decision to drill was quick because there was an RC rig that was drilling to the north of us. So it was opportunistic. We didn't have to pay any mob fees, let's just have a look.
How long would it take otherwise to mobilize a rig if it was not just to the north of you?
We would do a call sometimes. If we've got rig availability, it could be three days or 4 days, depending where they are.
Right.
So if you've got a rig here already, that's just a day. They just travel down.
I do want to go and look at that rig, so we can do that right now.
Okay.
So ODNA is in if that's a ODNA's permit by hand, ODNA is in the top northeast corner, and this road just sort of tracks down, and if that's the bottom of the permit, it tracks down through.
Yeah.
And then in the bottom of the permit, it's close to being a little bit east of the middle.
So we are on the property now.
Yep, we're right in the guts of the property now, and we're going into it, and so pretty much all our discoveries are in that way, and we're actually driving over the top of the BBM trend now. So BBM is northeast of us here. Northwest, sorry, I always do this. Northwest of us here, and the BBM trend tracks through either just to the north or the south side of this cashew factory. And then, so not far off in this direction, like about 1 or 2 kilometres from here is the permit boundary, and we go into our Cienzo permit and the Fremen target. Yeah.
What are you going to do with the road? If this is on trend with BBM.
Unless there was a discovery straight underneath the road, we'd just stay here. It wouldn't move. If it turned out from a project, there's a nice big termite area right there. That's the thing. If it turned out that if we make a discovery at Fremen and it's not like a standalone thing, or you wanted to truck the ore, or you toll treated the ore on the joint venture, or however that worked out, you would probably have to build a little mini flyover on this road. So any ore that went from the Fremen to a mill, which would likely be on this side of the road, we would just build an underpass for our trucks to go underneath, and this road just wouldn't change.
So Andrew, you said it's this is part of the process as well. I don't see a rig though. Why are we stopping here?
We're stopping here because just to the left of us is a emergency clinic, if you like, which is all set up in case we have a serious injury on site. We are remote, and we want to make sure that we're looking after everyone as best we can if we do have some sort of major trauma or major injury. We've got an ambulance and the clinic on site. We can stabilise people and get them to ODNA and get them airlifted out if need be, or even just to the base hospital at ODNA.
Let's go and have a look. So the white container, yeah, what's in there?
So that is a clinic. So there is a bed in there. There is oxygen, trauma gear, like for, if you break a bone or something like that, we can fix people. We can, for major trauma, if they're bleeding and all that sort of thing, both the ambulance and there are set up to stabilize people.
And that's part of the process, you said, so it's important to have that on site. Would all sites have it? Is it?
I think,
new, actually.
This is new. So because our activities have intensified, you know, we think we'll have up to 8 rigs running by the end of the year. Your level of risk elevates, right? So if you're just walking around soil sampling, you've got a rig every now and then, you can manage risk more efficiently, I suppose. And so every rig that you add and every person that you add, you have got increased risk of something going wrong, even if all your procedures and standard operating procedures are in place and you're trying to train people to use those. Accidents do happen, and we want to make sure that if an accident does happen on site, that no matter who that personnel is, that we're looking after them as best we can.
How's that been for you? Have you had any accidents since you started drilling?
Touch wood, we've never had any major accidents on site.
What could go wrong though? Like I know there's snakes around here. Is that part of it?
Look, that's probably a low risk. Operating machinery is high risk. And one of the biggest sort of any operation in places like this where there is a lot of road travel, RTAs, road traffic accidents, are very common and often the thing that is completely out of your control, because it's somebody else on the road that's actually, you might have your drivers, we train our drivers, we do all that sort of stuff, but maybe somebody else has made a mistake and then there's an RTA. But, you know, drilling rigs are dangerous things.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, we all wear our hard hats, we all wear our safety gear, you know, but things can go wrong, and we just want to make sure that if we're unlucky enough for something to go wrong, we're prepared.
Let's go and look at the rigs.
Sure.
And so we're at the rig now, and you're doing diamond drilling, but historically you've started with RC or air core drilling, so why go to diamond immediately on the 100% stuff?
Well, we've actually already drilled some percussion on the 100% stuff. So now, it depends on where you are and I guess what you've got available as well. Drilling diamond core gives you the geologic information that you need. So the early percussion drilling that we did at Fremen, you know, we're not 100% sure on the drill orientation. You know, some drill lines we drilled this way, and other drill lines we drilled this way, or in the complete opposite direction. And that's because particularly at Fremen, there's very little or no outcrop at all that we've come across, whereas somewhere like BBM, when we first drilled BBM, we had quite a bit of outcrop kicking around, like near where our first holes were targeted. So we had a level of confidence about the drill direction we were going for. Whereas Fremen, that's just absolutely not the case. So we want to get a few diamond holes in, and they're not necessarily actually directly targeted at mineralization. Maybe we'll get some, but it's more about understanding geometry. So when we come back and do our next phase of percussion drilling, we've got confidence that we're drilling in the right direction.
But I gotta say, everything that I've seen, like it's a whole process. It's not like you show up, there's an outcrop, and you start drilling it. What you've told me so far, is that typical for an explorer? Is it, or are you being more kind of like risk averse than others? Are you collecting more science than others are or should?
I think, look, it depends on what, so when you're in an environment like this, it's extremely data poor. So you're building your geology and your model and your ideas yourselves, because it is data poor and there hasn't been a lot of previous work. There isn't a lot of outcrop. A lot of West Africa, in some projects I've worked, you know, there's actually zero outcrop. So you're starting with a regolith profile that you need to understand what the geology is underneath. We've probably got about 10 to 15% outcrop, in some areas maybe more. But overall, like if you look at the entire 2,500 kilometres, it's probably about 10% outcrop, if that. And so you need to build a target picture through other methods, through geophysics, through joining big dots from the outcrops that you do have, and geochemistry, and squeezing as much as you can out of the geochemistry as well. So we understand our geology pretty well here, and so we can then apply the geochemistry that we do, the multi-element geochemistry that we do, to build lithological models or lithogeochemical models of subsurface geology from that geochemistry. And then your gold anomalism, gold and copper and moly anomalism are drivers within that, but you layer up all that information to build a drill target.
How much of it is still up to interpretation for you? Like if I took all the data that you showed me and I gave it to someone with less relevant experience for this specific task at hand, would they still deliver the same results?
I think if they're a good geologist, yeah, I think you know, but I mean, that's the funny thing about geology is quite often if you've got a room full of geologists and one target, or you've got half a dozen geologists, you'll probably have 6 different opinions on what the target is. But if they're good economic geologists or exploration geologists, they'll probably approach, you know, making a discovery or drilling that target in the same manner.
Okay. Back to where you've picked to drill for Fremen specifically, is the location kind of absolutely set in stone, like you get the coordinates from a map and then you go and the rig has to go exactly there? Or would you still kind of think about, I mean, topography is pretty flat, but I see you've had to, you know, clear some of the ground, or what determines the exact location?
I mean, in that early stage drilling, as long as you're getting along that target trend, it's okay. Like, so, you know, if there was a line of cashew or a cashew forest that ended here, like where we're standing, and our line was planned right there, well, we wouldn't go and drill our very first line right through the cashew trees. And if it was just scrubby bush like this next to us, we would put the drill line like through here, but we would make sure that we traverse over our interpreted geology. So it's not, you know, the target. We're looking for big deposits.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, you know, hundreds of meters of scale, not tens of meters of scale. So
how do you decide what not to drill then in that case? Because you've still not given me that kilometer long hole at Scepter East. How did you decide not yet to do that?
Well, a kilometre long hole is very expensive, I suppose, and so within our target ranking system, that target has not ranked above Charger, BBM.
But why? Was
Empire.
it geophysics or
the grade's not as high as well. So I think, you know, the I guess the bang for your buck when you've got to watch your budget. You're looking for things that can drive the project forward with your exploration spend. And so that's, as an economic geologist, you're constantly rating and ranking your targets.
Yeah. Okay. Back to talking about the rig. I see some water kind of in action right now. I saw a pond as well. Where does your water come from here? I mean, it seems pretty dry.
There's a lot of groundwater.
Okay.
So pretty much any of the drill holes that we've drilled formally, if you put a submersible pump down there, you'll get water out of them.
How deep?
Probably from around about, depending on it's seasonal as well, but so even in dry season, you know, maybe 40 to 60 meters.
Oh, okay, not too bad.
Water. Yeah.
Okay, and you got to get that permitted beforehand and.
No, you don't actually have to specifically get permitted to do that. And in the scheme of things, we're not taking much water anyway.
How much?
But look, if they're not losing water in the hole, you know, maybe they use a couple of thousand liters of water a day.
Okay.
You know, it's not a huge that's on a rig.
Yeah. How's the efficiency of these rigs? How many meters do you get a day, or a shift, I suppose, because it's 2 shifts of 12 hours?
These guys drill pretty well, and it's good diamond drilling country as well. Like but we can get anywhere from 40 to 60 meters a shift, even 80 meters a shift sometimes. So with the 4 rigs that we've had running, we've got a 5th one up and running now. But with the 4 rigs, we've been easily getting sort of 300-400 meters of core a day.
Okay. And that core then gets shipped back to ODNA on trucks?
So in the back of the Toyota, it gets taken back to the core shed, and it is logged, marked up. Most of the core markup actually here, but the sampling markup happens back at the core shack, and cut and sampled.
Yeah. I've been hearing about it, but I haven't seen it, so let's go and have a look.
Sure. Pretty much all the villages are electrified now. So it may seem sporadic, but there are. So these are these triple. These 3. I think they're. I think they're 90 kVA, and then they've got transformers into the village. There are 90 kVA power distribution to nearly every big centre, like Jimmy, and then there is distribution into the villages beyond that. Yeah. And that a lot of that actually, it might look like that because a lot of that network distribution was actually done by Watara. So that was one of his mandates when he was elected in 2010 or whatever it was.
11, yeah.
To be, to electrify the entire country.
So how far was this from Empire and Charger and all the rest? Because this is the core shed, right?
Yep. So we're probably 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers from Empire now.
Okay.
And yeah, this is the core shed, which is really, I guess, the heartbeat of all the operations in the scheme of things. Now we've been to the office, but really, this is where it all happens. It's very busy.
Okay.
And we're drilling at the moment with 4 rigs. We just started with 5, but with 4 rigs, we're drilling 300 to 400 meters a day of drill core, and so it's very much about production. We do logging of the mineralized zones quickly, get it over to the core source to cut, and get it out to the lab as quickly as we can. But
should we do a tour though?
Yep, we should do a tour, and there's a chap in here who is much better qualified to talk about this stuff than
he's not wearing pink, is he?
He does have pink on today, showing us his feminine side.
Well, I can obviously see this where the core gets logged.
Yeah.
This is fresh core then only.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they're probably about 5 racks deep. So each line will be 1 hole that comes in. The guys will log, they'll then take the mineralized zone, select it, out it goes, cutting, shed, gone. And then we'll log the hanging wall and the foot wall. Normally the geologist will take a bit longer and go to the detail, but for what we're trying to achieve here, we're familiar with the geology.
Yeah.
So,
what's with these yellow things though? Are you splurging? Because normally I'd see them being wooden.
Wooden, yeah. No, we're well-funded mates. We go for non-wooden, because the wood tends to disintegrate, and then you can't see the color. But but these are for when we orientate the core.
Okay.
So orientation is really important to us because it allows us to work out which way the mineralization is going.
Right.
If people don't orientate their core, they don't know where the mineralization is going.
Where does the core get cut? I can see some core boxes there, but where does it get cut?
So at the moment, we're running two manual core slots.
Should we go and have a look?
Yeah. So everything we're doing at the moment is in progress.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 automatic core saws that are coming to site.
Yeah.
These are manual. So for safety, we're better off having a big automatic core saw, so there's less moving parts to get your fingers cut in.
Yeah.
So at the moment the productivity is pretty good with those. Normally these are going, but I suspect the guys have logged are still backlogged with with some of the core. As soon as they get finished, we'll start cutting again.
Are you going to need more though? Because you're drilling, what, 100,000 meters over the next 18 months or so?
Yes, so we've got 2 at the moment, two manual, 2 more manual coming, and then 2 automatic core saws. So that's 6. The idea is with the automatic core saws, they can run anything from 300 to 600 a shift.
Okay, well.
Meters.
Yeah.
So they're very, very efficient.
Yeah. They're faster than the drillers.
Well, we've got enough rigs to keep up. So that's you got it on the head. So hit the nail on the head. Is that we need to be cutting at the pace that we're drilling, and we need to be logging and sampling at the pace that we're drilling.
Right.
So if it goes out of sync, then that's when we start having backlogs and whatnot. But at the moment, the team are right on top of it.
Yeah. I can see a building there. That's for the guards.
That's a temporary, temporary accommodation for the guards. We have them here 24 hours a day.
Okay.
But the idea is,
do you need to though? Is it like from safety reasons? Is it, or why do you have them here?
It's actually for any good QP would come here, and it's about security of core. So at the moment we've got plans to put a fence around the yard, which would be a recommendation from a QP that came into.
Have you had
That's
any
somebody
issues
that signs off on the.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but have you had any issues like in terms of? Okay.
Never. No, the place you've had a walk around the place. The place is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the first time that you've been here.
Is there anything else going on, like agriculture or anything else around us?
Yeah, so you'll have people have farms. It can be anything from beef farms. You saw the cashew forest just on the way in. We've been very lucky. The access to here was always there because you saw the power lines are there as well. But this is the core shed, but it's not big enough. So we're going to have to build another core shed.
Okay.
I'll walk you around.
Okay.
This area is actually a designated area, so we're negotiating to see if we can then start using this. And this is where you saw the core that was stacked up in the houses, which I discussed was there during the election. We put it there just for security. Yeah. But we'll be building essentially a core farm out here, and we'll need an extra core shed. And around here we're going to build the office, because you saw the office that was our original exploration office in Odeni. So that really needs to go to the Awalé team.
How far away are we from the office? Driving?
Well, driving?
The OG office, yeah.
I reckon it took you about 8 minutes, I think.
Yeah. No, we actually came from field.
Yeah, you can be there in about 5 to 8 minutes.
Oh, cool. So
very easy, yeah.
That's water?
That is water, that's the water tower.
Okay, yeah.
So that's north, and then just, if you continue that way, that's where BBM is.
Right. How far?
BBM is probably about, right into the guts of it, probably about 800 meters.
Also, we might be standing on mineralization.
We're not, we're south of it.
Okay. Well, the good thing is that...
Because you know you're not supposed to build your camps on top of mineralization, though a lot of companies do.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a good problem to have, not having enough room for a camp. Because it's all mineralization. All
mineralization. Oh, that wouldn't be the first place. But no, we're pretty convinced that this is okay. Besides, these are relatively temporary structures.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't put any, like the office is going to be 2 40-foot containers that are put together and they're just placed. So there again, it's essentially a temporary structure. But yeah.
Right, so I think I've seen most of it, Andrew, and I'm just wondering, why are you doing all this work? Like, what's the meaning of this? What's the point of it all?
We're trying to figure out the economic value of what we've got so far. Okay. So that's what it's really all about. So we haven't done a mineral resource estimate yet. So first step in that is get a mineral resource estimate.
Right.
And so that takes a lot of drilling, because you've got to build statistical confidence in the ore bodies that you're drilling. So we get that out, and then, but also at the same time, we're putting together for the PEA, preliminary economic assessment, and you know, there are various study things around that. So you know, there's some hydro work that you've got to do, there's geotechnical work that you've got to do, there's metallurgical work that you've got to do around those things. So amongst others, and then there's also environment and community. And so there are all these study things that need to come into the PEA as well. So that's why we actually have everything staged out. We're doing a lot of drilling right now to get the MRE out, because a lot of the PEA work and mine scheduling and mine design design and things like that hinges around that initial resource estimate. So we've got a tight schedule to make sure that we're finished that PEA mineral resource estimate drilling by at least the first week of January. Like, that's hard to cut off.
Have you at this point done kind of an internal scoping study just so you can get a back of the envelope calculation as to what it could be?
Yeah, we've got to, I mean, any economic geologist, well, not any, but we do. We've got a spreadsheet that we use where we'll put in the intercepts from the drilling that we have done, to give us a ballpark idea about what an estimate might be. Yeah. So we've done that. So we've got confidence in where we're going to get to. With our first mineral resource estimate, so we know that BBM will make up most of that first MRE, and then Charger, and then Empire in sort of size or ounce contribution to that first resource estimate.
How big do you think it has to be in order for it to be of any merit? In this setting, I mean, community, politics, costs, everything together.
Yeah. Okay. So look. For me, one of my first rules of thumb is, like, as a small company, if you just take away the fact that we've got big companies as major investors, if you're a junior company, for me, having a reserve that gives you a 10-year mine life, or 7 to 10 year mine life, is the most important thing. And so and a rule of thumb on inferred resources is that you're going to lose a third of it by the time you get to that point. So you'd want to have, for me, over 1.2, 1.3 million ounces to give yourself somewhere around 800,000 to 1 million ounces as what you've got as a reserve,
right,
to go into production with. We're thinking way bigger than that. So for us, we're going, okay, we'd like to see something towards 2 million.
Well, do you want it to be 2 million though, really? Because that gets Newmont over the threshold, right? But that's 2 million ounces gold. So BBM is gold and copper, and it's roughly 1/3 gold. 1/3 copper, 2/3 gold. Which are
our MRE is going to be in gold equivalent ounces. So if we get 2 million gold equivalent, it's not going to be quite 2 million gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does it look like this is ever going to be a Newmont-sized project?
We think it's got potential, and so do they. Right. So, and we've got, the last news release we put out, we talked about the targets that we have in between that sort of Charger Scepter area, going north towards Lando, and so we have many targets in there. We've done first phase geochemistry through them, termite area sampling, broad space, 400 odd meters, sometimes more. We're currently infilling on that, and we've just flown the airborne gravity gradient. So then we go through the process that we've talked about, our exploration process. Effectively, we're going through that again on the ODNE East permit, because we're going to be layering up geochemistry, geophysics, mapping as the geological work that they've done as they're out taking the samples, and tightening those targets, and we'll be drilling them early next year.
Yeah.
And that's the flipper. That's the one that, at the moment, if we make a solid discovery in that phase of work, then that's the flipper for the joint venture to become I think, this is my opinion, into a Newmont scale play.
Isn't it in that case too early for a resource, or why have you picked now as the time? Because you have so much ground that's underexplored that we looked at throughout the trip. Yeah,
there is also realities of operating in country, and so what we have just got is what is called a special renewal. For the ODNE East permit. I mean, ODNE West was only just granted at the end of last year, so it's got 10 years. But we had been through the first period of 433 with 4 years, 3 years, 3 years with ODNE East. So we applied for a special renewal, and under the regulations, that special renewal is for feasibility studies. So we need to complete feasibility studies and apply for a mining license in 2027.
Okay. I do want to talk about community and politics, and we will. That's when we can talk permitting. What do you not know about the project, though, at this point? You know a lot. I've seen a lot of the process and everything, but what are like, if you had to give me 3 unknowns, what do you not know?
We do have to do the met work. That's one. We don't know, I mean, I don't know when you ever know the true scale of a project, because you keep doing brownfields drilling, greenfields drilling. So, but we believe that there is scalability within the joint venture and within the greater sort of permit package that we have, and that takes work. And a third thing, you know, we don't know today how the project's going to end up being developed. But I'm confident that it will be developed. Yeah. How that actually happens, and who with or without is yet to be. You know, that's a page that'll turn in the journey. Yeah,
I like that hint there. But the metallurgy, the fact that it's unknown and you're going into an economic study, is that normal? I would have expected you to know it earlier. Actually, if I had to guess, why do you not know about the metallurgy?
We have, look, we have done some very early stage met. We have done it. And really that was just a float test for the chalcopyrite. Or for the copper. And we know that we know that it floats. So now it takes time too. So look, we've always been, you know, confident in the because the metallurgy, like, visually is so simple. That we've always been confident that BBM, you know, there'd be no problem with flotation circuit. What we haven't known is whether the gold deportment is what it's called, and that's how the gold will act in a processing circuit. So are we going to be pouring BBM gold on site? Is it going to be part of you end up having a high grade gold concentrate? So we just need to figure out that side of things of how the gold will from BBM will travel in a circuit, and it takes time. So it'll take that'll be one of the last things we get. It'll be sort of February, March before we've got those results.
Right. I know the flies and mosquitoes are not going to be happy to hear this, but we have to go, and I'm going to go and talk to your country manager, Ben, I think.
Yes.
Because another thing that's left is the community, right?
Yes,
and so we're going to have to figure that out as well, and we can go into ODNA, I suppose, to do that?
Yeah. It's a nice town.
Right, Ben, so where are we now? So this is the town of Odiene. What is it? How big is it? What is it?
Yeah, exactly. So now we are at Odiene, and Odiene is at the northwest of Ivory Coast of Cote d'Ivoire here. And I can say Odiene is like 1.6 square kilometers, just to visualize. Yeah. And the last statistic, Odiene has like around 200,000 like our population. Yeah. Yes, in Odiene here from the 2021 statistic.
Right.
Yep.
Who holds the power here? So it's too big to have like one chief or something, I imagine. So yes. Who is it? A government mayor? What does that look like?
Yes, exactly. In Odiene here we have the minister governor, and also we have the prefect. I think that this is the most power people in Odiene here, and we have also the mayor. And this one is like administrative authorities, but we have also like the traditional authorities. We have the canton. The canton is like the chief of all the villages chief. Yeah, he's the canton. Yeah. So he's based in Odiene here, and also he's working with all the chiefs from like all the villages around Odiene here.
How important are they and kind of the rest of the community to your project in terms of you being able to work? Do you always have to get permit, or how important is that situation?
You see, it's very important to work for the community, work together with them. So everything we are doing here, before we started, we need to inform the authorities, the administration authorities, the military authorities, and also the traditional authorities. We need to inform them first, explain them what we are going to do, what we are doing here, and get like the authorization, get like the permission, get the support.
Yeah.
Like that, we can easily work without any issues, any difficulty.
Is it easy to get support from them? Do the locals like mining?
Yes, exactly. You see, Awalé region is unexplored, and now they hear about like exploration, about mining in the oversight and so on, and they was expected to have like a company working in the region. So when we came here and they hear that we came from like we are exploring, we are like exploration company, they was very, very happy to hear that we are coming here to do what they hear somewhere else. So we have their support. Automatically we have their support that they help us for us to have success during our work, our exploration.
What do people do for work around here? How do they? What do they? What's the main breadwinner here?
Yes, like the main activity of the people here. The people here, they name in Africa, we call it in Côte d'Ivoire, we call it malinké. And what they are doing here, they are doing like they are farmers, like a cashew farm and so on, maize, rice in the area here. So this is over your main activities, let's say in Awalé here.
Is this a poor region of the country, or where would it rank in terms of Côte d'Ivoire?
Yes, we can say, because it's the northern part, we can say maybe it's like a poor area here. And since like some years ago, they started to work hard. You see, doing like a big cashew farm, and now I think that of the area we start to see like some development in Awalé here. What you can see in Awalé here like now, it wasn't like that like 10 years before. So I think that they started to get like some development in the area, some rich people coming from the agriculture, farmers, and also coming from the administration also side, because we have a lot of minister here, or a lot of like general manager and so on. So yeah, Awalé is become like bigger and bigger, and also they have like a lot of authorities also in the area. So the development is ongoing in Awalé here.
Do you employ people from the area? People who live here? Are they any of them working for you?
Exactly. This is our priority for the community. Our priority is to employ people from Awalé. Like that is easy for us also to work for the community and so on, because we contribute to the development of Awalé. So we employ people from here, like all the casual and so on. We employ them from here, and as well like on the. We try to find like some geologists in the area. You see, we have some. We are going to build like a university just here. They started already, and we have like over university in Awalé, in Abidjan, in Man, and so on. But since they also child in Abidjan, in Man, to do this to study the geology. So we have some geologists coming from Awalé. So they are like a priority. Yeah, we choose them in priority to help us, and we already started.
Yeah. I think it might make sense to also talk a little bit about politics, but do you want to go inside so we can sit down and then talk further?
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
You can do it.
And so it is the community really that ties into politics as well, right? Because you employing people from the region probably makes it better for your relationship with the government, I suppose?
Yes, so what I'm saying, and we employ like people from here, from Awalé here, and especially now we took like free labor. We started to use them like casual and so on, and we train them as a technician. And now we gave them a contract. They are working for Awalé. They have contracts, and we pay them, and they are very happy. And one of them, with all the money, from his salary, he just built like a house in his village.
How much money do people make here? How much do you pay them a month? Probably varies between technicians, but yeah.
Yeah, it depends. I think that you can start it like around 250,000 CFA. There from there, and as we are going, we just increase like here by here, and so on, and as we are going and we are progressing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talking about politics, why I wanted to talk about politics is to better understand Côte d'Ivoire from the perspective of who runs it. And you've got a new president who's not new.
Yes.
So yeah, what is the acceptance for the new president? Are people happy? What does that look like?
Yes. Let's say people are happy. People they are very happy about the new is not new, but about the current president. And as you saw in Abidjan and also here and so on, he's doing like a fantastic job. The development, like all the country, all in all Côte d'Ivoire, from Abidjan and also like the other region and so on. You see, he's this current president who create like the minister of governor. This one doesn't exist before, but he just create that just to help the region to be developed and so on. And I find that it works. Yeah.
Well, what is the process for you when you apply for a permit, and how bureaucratic is it? And really why I'm asking, Ben, is because I'm thinking of timelines.
Yes,
right?
That is
what
true.
Does that look like?
Yeah, that is true. This one is like administrative things, and the process also can be long. For now, I think that yes, it's still long, but since like 2-3 years, they made like a lot of effort to do it quick. To do it quick, it's still long. It's an administration process. It's still long, but I think that there is like more major evolution or major things they did to make it quick than previously. So now I think that we are very happy. Like for the renewal, for the new application and so on. We got like 2 permits granted for Awalé recently. Let's say the 23rd of April 2025, and it was let's say it wasn't quick, but it was normal. It was normal. Yeah, it's administration thing. So you need to start to apply at the DGMG. DGMG is like the general direction of the mine. There, start there, provide like all the documents they requested. This one also is up. It depends on the company or the person who is doing that. Because if they ask something and you provide like quickly, and no problem, your document can move also quickly, and so on. So I started there. I was available. They called me. I provide everything they want, and when they finalize and everything is okay, they submit that to the minister. And after the minister, when the minister also is happy and sign it, they send that to the president office, and this is where we get like the final approval and signed by the president. Yeah.
How predictable is that process? Do you always know what you're going to get at the end? And again, here I'm thinking about stuff like corruption, for example, and stuff like that. Does that happen?
I think that you see the current president put like some strong things in place to avoid like corruption and so on. They are doing like a lot of things also online to avoid like a manipulation and so on. So yeah, it's not 100% finish and so on, but I think that we got some improvement also on that. And about the time, what I can say about the time, it can be let's say 6 months and plus, you see, it depends how quick you submit like all the documents they requested. It depends also on the period. When you have like we are in the election period or in Christmas and so on, yeah, it can take more time. But if like everybody are available, I think that can be quick, around maybe 6 months and plus.
Yeah. Okay. What's the tax situation, and would the government get a royalty on a mine here, or what would that look like?
Yeah, for the tax, when you apply, you need to pay like some taxes and so on. And for the royalty, exactly, the government in the mining codes, the government have royalty. Yes, in mine is about 10%. Yeah, it's about 10%. Yeah.
How quickly could that change, or when's the last time that it changed? Could it happen? So, or really what I'm asking is, if there's a lot of development here and you start developing new mines here shortly, could the government change its mind and be like, we want 20% now?
Let's say since we started exploration of we opened the president opening like of exploration in Ivory Coast here. This one was like I think that if I recall, it was in 15, 16 there. Since they started, this royalty percentage still the same. Here, and I don't think it will change. Now we are working on the new mining code, and I still have the same percentage. So I don't think it will be changed quickly and so on. Before they change, I think that will be consultation and so on. So for now, I think that it will still have the same percentage.
We're not too far away from the Mali border here. Specifically, what are the risks of Côte d'Ivoire becoming a similar situation? Is that a realistic thing?
Yes, this one like a lot of visitors and people also ask me this question, and my answer is like the same. Côte d'Ivoire for me will not be like Mali or like Burkina and so on, because we have also a strong president, a very good president also currently, and is working hard to have like a peace in Côte d'Ivoire here. So everything about what we put in place and so on, I don't think like we will be like Mali or Burkina. This is what I can say. And in ODNA here also is peaceful. Since we get here in 2018, no issues, no major issues in ODNA here. We are at the border of Guinea, also Mali and so on. No issues, peaceful. You can go and do your footing. Even if you are a white man and so on, no problem. You can go and do your footing and go back, come back at the office or at your house. No issues, no problem here. So I don't think.
Why is that? Why is it different than Mali? Why is it so different?
You see here already the government they put like some strong things in place, and in ODNA here we have like a lot of let's say military camp, policy and so on. So they just and also they control like all the border and so on, border between Côte d'Ivoire and Mali, Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina, Côte d'Ivoire and Guinea and so on. They have like a strong military site. Yes, in this area, in this zone, as well as in ODNA here. So they are prepared. You see, they are prepared. So I think that no issue for that.
Right. Okay. It's time for me to go back and talk to Andrew Chubb about some of the other things. But thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Thank you very much, and it was really appreciated.
Andrew, so I've seen it all. Hopefully, I've seen as much as you would show me, but no, jokes aside, it was an extensive tour. I've been able to see the whole process and everything. What do you think? I couldn't figure it out myself. So, what do you think is causing the undervaluation in the stock price, given that you do have that process and it seems like you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I guess our conversations have been interesting. So what we're doing, I mean, I guess many people don't know what we're doing unless we've been to site. So we are an extremely serious company, and we run a very serious operation. And our staff levels are up to around about the 60 to 70 mark now. And there's 2 more rigs. So by the time we've got 8 rigs running, we'll be pushing on rotation. We'll be getting close to 100 staff.
Yeah.
So from that side of things, yes, we are a serious company, and we will be producing our first mineral resource estimates, and I think that will change. Perhaps I think there's no recognition for what we would call our 100% ground, in that, so the if you want to put it in, there's no net asset value in the 1,500 square kilometres of 100% Awalé ground at this stage. Oh, well, I think other companies get NAV out of neurology, and we've created our own neurology. Right, so we will be, publishing, resources, and we hope to have something close to a couple of million ounces next, in Q2 next year. So we've created our own neurology because we came in here with new ideas for greenfields properties that had never had any modern exploration. Yeah. So we're good at what we do. I would say I'm quite comfortable in saying we're good at what we do. But so perhaps I think Newmont is earning in on where we've made our discoveries so far. But I in a way, it's a little bit disappointing that we don't get NAV out of the 100% ground, which is all on trend from the neurology that we've created.
Well, some of the results that you've been getting from the 100% ground are not living up to par as to what you might expect for BBM, right? They're not the same grades yet.
Yeah, that's right. So they're not the same grades.
But is there
BBM,
potential for BBM still?
Well, we still think there's potential, and that's why we've got a rig turning there right now. Getting that geology information from some diamond core before we do more percussion drilling. But what I would say about that is exploration does take time. I think we can do it faster than we did. You've got to remember that we did actually start here back in 2017. And so we're a lot more on the radar now, which does create expectation, and so that exploration process that we had time to do and get to, no one was really watching when we were doing that. So when we were doing all that early stage geochemistry for BBM, that was actually during COVID. Mm-hmm. Right, so that's a long time ago. So now people are watching, and there is this, sudden expectation that, another BBM is going to fall off the tree, I guess. And we think we're confident we'll make more discoveries, but we've still got to go through our systematic process to make those discoveries, and that's how you create your own luck. Everyone says you need luck to find ore bodies, but you also create your own luck by doing good geology, being thorough, getting the geology right and getting your drilling right, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of mango trees in the office, so maybe I should shake on them and see if anything falls out of there. But no, jokes aside, there are a couple of things that I hear often when I wonder about why the valuation. One of it is Newmont. People say like, oh, but they only own, great project that's there. We've seen it, high grade and all that, but they only own 25% of that. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you say to that?
Well, what I say to that is Newmont are continuing to spend money, so they clearly think that there is Newmont scale potential here. So our current valuation is really on 25% of something that is not Newmont scale, if you want to put it that way. So, in a way, I don't understand that valuation, if that be the case, if it's Newmont scale. And if it doesn't turn out to be Newmont scale, we'll be in a position to, take back 100% of those discoveries that we have made.
You think that's financeable and everything in the situation?
Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So and that puts us in a fantastic position as well. So, either way, I think there is significant upside for Awalé, or we are significantly de-risked in that manner, because we've got money to spend on our 100% properties so we're well funded for that. And then, we've still got Newmont spending 100% of the money on the joint venture ground to either have something that is truly Newmont scale and moving into feasibility and development on something of that scale, or we're sitting on a mid-tier project today. So I see Awalé as a significantly de-risked company as opposed to our peers.
Yeah.
Another thing that I hear about is speed. Again, you touched upon that as well. But so far, the early stage process, you haven't had a news cadence all the time. You've also stopped for seasonality here and there. Now that you're drilling that much, 88,000, 100,000, I think in total. Are you going to have more news? Are things going to go quicker?
Yeah, no, things are moving quickly. I mean, we're at the moment, we've had, up until just recently, we've had 4 rigs running. We've got 5 now, there's about to be 6, and then there'll be 8. So, but with 4 rigs running, we were producing 300 to 400 meters of core a day, and we're cutting and we're logging, cutting, getting it off to the lab in an expedient fashion. And that's because it's production logging, so we know what to expect. I'm going into too much detail. But so in short, yes. And look, in the past when we've been drilling and we've had the results coming through, we've had like a fortnightly cadence of results. So there are always times in exploration where there's a bit of a lull and not. But now with all that drilling, it's just should be continuous results flow all throughout this drill season into August next year.
Are you going to have to take a break August next year for the rainy season, or could you drill through it?
The schedule slows down in July, August, or August, September next year, but it doesn't stop. So there is drilling planned in that period as well at this stage.
Right. I initially wanted to talk in this piece, driving back home essentially here is to, I wanted to talk about how do you make money for shareholders here? Would you produce or would you sell? That's kind of the question that it comes down to. So what is it looking like? I mean, we have seen some smaller companies get into production themselves in West Africa because of the permitting schedule being more simple and so on. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that, the Newmont is on the joint venture, if it's a Newmont scale project, the natural person to develop something that's Newmont scale is Newmont. And if not, we do already have Fortuna as a major shareholder in Awalé, so I'm sure they would be interested in a mid-tier scale play. But when it all comes back to it, the way I look at it is where we will create value for shareholders as we go through the process of MRE, BEA, etc., and people start to see what we've got. And beyond that, I've always said that running this is running a business, and we will always do what is the best value for the company. So if actually for whatever reason the project's not getting valued for what it should be, and we can see a pathway to take it to production, then we would do that as well.
Well, do you think there's a risk of being taken out too early? Because there's just so much ground we have that is untouched, but still showing a lot of potential from geophysics and geochem and structurally and everything else that you explained to me.
Yeah, that's hard to say. I suppose I see Fortuna as good partners at the moment, and so they're supportive in what we're doing. But I think if I don't know what once you get the mineral resource estimates out and things like that, I think you start to see what the value of the project actually is.
Yeah. You said you have money right now to finish this drilling, so you don't foresee having to raise capital anytime soon then?
No. So if the status quo remains, then no. I think depending on what happens with Newmont, maybe we may need to rethink how we're spending the 15 million that we've got. But short answer, no.
Yeah. And that 15 million, that's enough to get an answer to that unanswered question, is it? On
the 100% ground?
Yeah.
Oh, look, we've got that'll give us 10 to 50, the 8 million budget that we've got set aside between now and the end of 26. Should give us 10 to 15,000 meters of drilling between air core, diamond, RC, and that's enough to make to get a toe in maybe on an early stage discovery, I think.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest risk for that business plan? What keeps you up at night? What do you think about getting it all together?
Yeah, that's a funny one, because I think the biggest risk for us at the moment is project delivery. So we just, we've set out an ambitious drill campaign to put out mineral resource estimates, PEA into PFS, and that's an incredible amount of work. And to keep the level of quality that we've been working with for the last years that we've built, we want to. So that's our biggest, for me, that's our biggest risk. As before, like from a company perspective, we see the project as de-risked. So I think the project's got everything it needs to deliver.
Well, if you had a magic wand, then in that case, what would you change? What would you wave that magic wand at? Is it, I don't know, jurisdiction, community, politics? I spoke to Ben about that and everything, but yeah, what would you change?
Yeah, I think the jurisdiction we're in is fantastic. Look,
you really do love it here, though. As I said at the beginning, you're much more giddy here than you are in Switzerland.
I think, I think our life would be a lot easier if we were completely in control of our own destiny.
Right. Yeah.
I think life would be easier if we were.
Yeah.
That's a pretty honest answer, that one.
It's probably a good point to end it on as well. When's the next time you and I are going to be talking? When are you going to have something more to say?
Well, hopefully we've got some results on Charger step-out drilling before Christmas, which would be really quite cool. It'd be nice to get a sniff of mineralization on that step-out drilling in that other DMAG zone. Like just a sniff would be enough to get us pretty excited. Right. I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the extensive tour. It really has been a pleasure. Thank you for taking good care of us, and hopefully speak again soon.
Look, thanks very much for taking the effort. It's not just around the corner, and it is a different place. So I'm glad you enjoyed your stay.
And as always, thanks to everyone for watching Resource Talks. I have a couple of more things to say, though. The fact that this company was interviewed here today does not mean that they're necessarily a good or a bad company. I'm not here to endorse nor attack anyone. I am simply here to ask some questions. If you find that I have failed in asking a question that you would have liked to hear an answer to, which will happen as I'm not an experienced interviewer, please let me know and I will try to correct that mistake in a future interview. As mentioned at the beginning, please understand that mineral exploration and development is an extremely risky business. Losing money is the norm and should be the expectation. This is a very complex sector, and the performance of individual companies typically depends on many different moving particles, including company-specific factors like geology, financing ability, and many others, really, as well as particles that are outside of the company's control, like geopolitics, macroeconomics, commodity prices, and many more, most of which are nearly impossible to fully understand. Moreover, these companies that typically get interviewed on Resource Talks are in the pre-revenue stage, which means they rely on the public markets for the financing of their operations, which could result in shareholder dilution. Furthermore, as a general rule of thumb, you'll be better off understanding that all company communications online, albeit this interview or their website and their presentation and their social media accounts, or even the social media accounts which you thought were your friends and then told you about a stock, everything really that these companies do is intended as marketing. And although I do not make buy or sell recommendations because there is a clear conflict of interest given the nature of my business, many out there do. And you should be aware of that inherent bias and you should be careful out there. That bias is not always going to be clearly disclosed with everyone out there. So it is safer for you anytime you're watching any type of company specific content to approach it with a dose of skepticism and assume that the party telling you about it is biased in at least some shape or form, because there will always be a bias. Again, albeit clear or not. So always ask yourself what the incentive of your counterparty is and never rely on them regardless of their incentives, but instead double check if what they're saying is true, again, by using setterplus.ca. The fact that I have no idea what I'm doing should already be clear to you at this point. I am not saying this to make jokes or laugh with myself. I just simply do not have a long enough track record of consistent investment profits. So I should under no circumstances be considered an authority on anything. Again, although this may sound amusing to you, Believe me, it is not amusing and it is not intended as a joke. I'm simply pointing out a fact and warning you not to rely on anything I do or say. Unfortunately, at least to my understanding, nobody out there has any special abilities. The CEOs do not possess any superior knowledge, and they cannot know about what will go up, what will go down, or what will go in circles. Some people even believe that to be rule number one on Wall Street. Nobody really knows. None of us know whether any of the company's activities will result in a success, again, given that we're talking about high-risk activities where most of the times it ends in failure. Also, unfortunately, try as I may, I won't always catch all red flags or all challenges with the companies. So even if I did ask a few tough questions in here, don't rely on this being all of the tough questions. Again, these are complicated startups with many moving parts, and I am conflicted given the nature of this business. Therefore, I cannot guarantee the quality of anything presented in this video, and you cannot hold me responsible for any losses or damages stemming from the way you decide to use this interview. Viewers, listeners, and readers acknowledge and agree that the information presented herein did not constitute a solicitation or an offer to buy or sell any security or investment or to participate in any trading strategy. Resource Talks and all parties involved in the management of the business strictly disclaim any and all liability for losses and or damages, whether direct, indirect, special, or consequential, or other consequences, however so caused, arising out of any use or reproduction of the content published by Resource Talks or any decision made or action taken in reliance upon it. By consuming this content, all consumers vow to release Resource Talks and all parties involved in the management of the business from all claims, proceedings, or consequences. This is all to say, I know it's a lot of lawyer talk, but this is all to say that you shouldn't blindly trust me or anybody on the internet, and you should do your own research. Once again, social media is meant for entertainment. It is setterplus.ca where you do your research. That's where you'll find the company's official filings, and I encourage you to read and analyze the Management Information Circular, the financial statements, the Management Discussion and Analysis, and whenever available, the NI 43-101 technical documents. If you don't understand everything in those documents, the chances of you losing money are even higher than they normally are in this space. And as mentioned earlier, the chances of even the best analysts in this sector losing money are extremely high, since this is venture capital and it is not for everybody. I'll leave you with one of Charlie Munger's quotes, which I wish I had listened to more often earlier on, which says, quote, "If you don't understand it, don't do it."